It's alright.
Oh my god!
Yo guys, what is up? Max from Borderlands 3 video, and today we're talking about 5G Flak, a URED Gamer Burst Flak build that has been my favorite Flak build for a really long time. Now, with the level cap increase, this build got a few really awesome skill point pickups, and we're restructuring the skill tree. A lot of cool things to talk about today. Before we get into it, I know there's a weird thing on my face. I plan on getting rid of it if you guys do like the mustache. If we get more than 1.5k likes on this video, I'll freaking keep it and we can have it. But I do plan on getting rid of this. I hope you guys do enjoy the video. Let's get right into it, guys. Alright guys, so showing on screen right now is the skill tree for 5G Flak. Now, you're going to notice that there's pretty big departure and change in the skill points in this build, and I'll be talking about that and explaining that. But before we get into the build, I want to talk about the general overview and the things that you absolutely need for this build. Now, the number one thing that this build relies on that you literally cannot do this build without is the Red Fang class mod. You 100% need the Red Fang class mod. The Red Fang reads while Gamer Burst is active, flex, pets, taunt all enemies. This is why we are able to go for the URED Anoint, while we're able to use the front loader, while we're able to stay alive so much, and that is because our Gamma Burst, while active, is going to taunt everything around us. This allows you to do the Malawan takedown bridge without ever getting hit. It allows you to do the crystals in Guardian takedown without ever shooting your weapon. This class mod is crazy. It works extremely well and is a huge aggro draw to your pet. Now, our pet during Gamma Burst is unkillable. It cannot die, and for the duration of Gamma Burst, you are just shooting at enemies with their back turned. You can set up a ton of damage and do a ton of damage. You're going to get Gamma Burst back really fast. Because we're not using the Gamma Burst Anoint and we're using the URED Anoint, we are able to maintain our damage all the time. Instead of having like a ton of damage while Gamma Burst is active and then losing it, we are always going to have this Anoint active, and it just works so well because we're always going to be under that maximum health because we're using a front loader, which is going to reserve our health. All in all, this build works incredibly well, and for those of you that have used it, just synergizes so well. Now, I guess I'll finish talking about gear, and then we'll go into the skill tree. So the gear that you want is gear that uses, while under 50% health, deal 150% bonus radiation damage. This anointment is extremely strong, especially on Flak, and is going to help you with mobbing and overall just damage. Now, the rad explosions on this build with all of our straight up damage increases allow for some crazy clear speed, especially with the reflex. The reflex is the number one best weapon you can use on this. With URED Anoint, it's going to mob really quickly. Enemies will die very quickly, and you are able to use it with both Leave No Trace and Head Count to basically get instant cooldown back on your Gamma Burst. Now, we, just real quick, are not using anything to extend our Gamma Burst. We do not want Endurance. We don't need Burst Aid, which allows us to use Empathetic Rage and Atomic Aroma, which is going to give us a 20-second skill duration on our Gamma Burst. Now, the reason we're doing that is because when we use Gamma Burst, we're going to have 20 seconds of it. We only get 10 seconds of our anointments, but we want to have our anointments up as much as possible. So basically how it works is you're going to fake Gamma Burst into the air. You put down Gamma Burst. Now you have 10 seconds of shooting. With your anointments, you're going to lose your anointments, and then you're going to be able to fake Gamma Burst. Your action skill will end. That's going to proc your anointments while your action skill is over. You're going to get your back, get fake Gamma Burst into the air. It basically allows for the best anointment use of Gamma Burst, which allows for the highest damage, highest DPS, which is freaking amazing. Now, the weapons that work best on this build are the Reflex, the Hellwalker, and the Light Shows. These are the best weapons, just straight up. The Monarch is also incredible. Plague Bears, Backburners, all really, really strong, but if I had to pick 4 weapons, I would recommend these 4 up here. Now, the Grenade doesn't really matter. You do need a front loader. I will be talking about your shield setup. I mainly use a front loader with a Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. The reason we're using the front loader is because it's going to reserve % of our max health and return it as shield capacity. This allows us to always be in the while under 50% health status or state, allowing us to always use URED. However, if you want slightly less damage but way more tankiness, use something like a Plus Ultra is a good one with a Deathless. A Deathless is really nice. It doesn't need to be the Plus Ultra. I should have the best recommendations up top. Honestly, I'd probably go for an Old God with radiation damage, and a Deathless is going to just give you a ton of shield and a lot of survivability, especially with our new pickup of Shared Spirit. If you do go for something like this, you're going to get a lot more survivability because you will always have Shared Spirit active. Now, when we are using a front loader and a Pearl, we're going to have a little bit more damage. However, Shared Spirit is not always active at the 40% health capacity. So just keep that in mind, that Shared Spirit is a nice pickup, but it's not always active with this build when you're using a front loader. Just something to note. Now, for our actual skill tree, red tree is pretty standard. Red tree doesn't change much. A lot of people ask me why I don't go Grim Harvest. Grim Harvest is only going to give us 6% gun damage. Our action skill damage doesn't matter. Pet damage is honestly fine. It's nice to have some pet damage on this build, but Second Intention is going to give us that reload speed, which just leads to better DPS. Now, for example, with this reload speed and we're going into overclocked, when I reload this weapon, this light show, I'm going to proc my overclocked, which is going to give me way higher fire rate. 20% increased fire rate. As you can see, I'm basically going to blow through the entire mag of the light show before that buff is even over, which is going to allow me to dump out more ammo, increase my DPS, and then my reload speed is faster so that I can get right back into overclock. That synergizes really well and allows the light shows, which have like that perfect magazine size for overclocked, to just shred with this build. That is why I went Second Intention. Now for green tree, fierce attack, gun damage, pet damage, all nice things, plus handling. Overclocked, I already explained for that fire rate. Now lick the wounds is a really nice pickup here because our pet is going to be immune most of the time, and when it's not immune, we have skills to basically make it really tanky. Your pet will pretty much never die. This build, I don't think I've genuinely seen my pet die while playing this build. It's pretty crazy, especially if Gamma Burst is active. Your pet is unkillable. And lastly, we're picking up Turn, Tail, and Run. First, a little bit of health regen, but mainly we're here for damage reduction while moving and gun damage while still. It's just a nice little pickup to have. We are not going Hidden Machine. Now, the reason we're not going Hidden Machine is because we're just going to be able to squeeze out a little bit more damage and utility out of the blue tree. If we went Hidden Machine, we probably would have had to go into Rage and Recover. We can't use the Fast and the Furious because while above half health, we're never above half health. We don't need health regen, and we can never really use the Power Inside because we're never at full health. So the decision was made to move to the blue tree. Now, in the blue tree, we can get amazing new skills like Hive Mind, which is going to give us a damage share all of the time, which is great for our tankiness. We're getting Barbaric Yop for using Great Horn Skag, or Spider Ant Scorcher is going to give us a ton more damage there. And the big pickup is Pack Tactics, Pet, and Flak damage plus 21%, and we're going to get more maximum health. It's just a really nice thing. Now, Shared Spirit is super crazy damage reduction, or damage share. Definitely recommend picking this up. Just know that you're not always going to be getting that damage share with a front loader, but if you are wrecking a Deathless setup, you will be, but you do lose a little bit of damage there. Now, like I said, for augments, we're using these two. We don't want anything that extends the duration, because if we extend the duration of Gamma Burst, we extend the amount of time that we don't have our anointments up, and anointments are very nice to have. It's one of the big downsides of using Gamma Burst is not being able to use anointments, but we're compensating that for that by using URED anoints and by not extending our Gamma Burst so that we can have our damage up as often as possible. Now, when you are bossing with this build, because this build is very capable of bossing, And the reason I don't rate this build as highly for bossing is because when you're one-on-one with the boss, the Red Fang is nice, but it's not the highest burst damage you could do. For bossing, I will either switch to a Cosmic Stalker, a Bounty Hunter, or a Stackbot Com. You can use either. I kind of prefer to use the Bounty Hunter because Stackbot means that you're kind of going to just use Monarchs, which Monarchs are great, but Bounty Hunter will give you a little bit more versatility. And I will switch because we're into Green Tree. We can go into Fadeaway. All you got to do is go into Fadeaway and you're good for bossing. Pretty much just change your class mod and go into Fadeaway and you will do some absolutely insane damage. But I did want to bring that up because I don't really like bossing with the Red Fang because there's not really any point of using it. So Bounty Hunter and our setup is just going to work a little bit better for bossing. Now, one cool addition is the Hellwalker to this build. The Hellwalker is insane. You guys know it does a crap ton of damage. With this build, enemies not shooting at you, you're able to line up your shots and just deal massive, massive damage. And I am a big fan of it. You can use pretty much any weapon with this build. I do recommend looking out for the U-Ragnoids. It works very well, but you're going to work a lot better with multi-pellet weapons, weapons that fire quickly and have multi-pellet weapons because you want to get your Gamma Burst as fast as possible. Using weapons like snipers, for example, don't work as great because you're not going to get Gamma Burst back as quickly, and you need Gamma Burst to stay alive. The longer your Gamma Burst is on cooldown, the longer the window is that you could get taken out, and as long as you're using things like the Reflux, when that window ends, you can get Gamma Burst back almost instantly, and it just overall works out really, really well. Guys, that is it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something new. If you did, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!